Welcome everyone. Under the concept of memory, we have till now discussed about explicit memory, implicit memory, and under that we have also discussed somewhat dimensions of process, encoding, storage, and retrieval. Now, the stages related concept of memory will be discussed. Now, when we look forward for stages related memory, there are three stages being available with respect to memory. One is the sensory stage, second is the short-term stage, and then the long-term stage. So when we look forward for these stages, the memory goes from one stage to another. That information begins in the sensory memory, moves to short-term memory, and eventually moves to the long-term memory. So we have got all these stages where the information travels and converted into a different set of memory from sensory to short-term and then eventually towards the long-term. But when we look forward for these informations, all these informations when they move from one stage to another, there are chances that these informations are not being fully or wholly being moved from one to another stages. So that thing can be get forgotten. So forgetting is a as we have seen with respect to different other method where we came up with encoding, storage, and retrieval. Missing of information in between leads to your forgetting aspects. Similarly, with respect to stages of memory, whenever we have got transfer of information from sensory to short term to the long term memory, we have got chances of these things being forgotten as if all the information is not traveling or is not transferring from one to the another stages. Now, moving ahead with respect to this, the first is what is sensory memory. As we simply identify, the sensory memory is going to come up with what? That is some sensory organ related information. So sensory organs are your nose, your tongue, your ears, your eyes. All these are examples of it. Even your skin is going to be part of it. So these are going to receive certain set of information in context of sensory inputs. So these inputs will be in terms of somewhat stimuli to the individual. Now sensory memory is a memory buffer that lasts only very briefly, and then unless it is attached to, attend to, and passed on for more processing, it is forgot. So it is something like when we are moving towards one place, we got a hit from something, or we can say we just pinch a pen to our body. So that particular information, that particular memory information will be retained till the time we get a pain related to that pinch, pain related to that matter. So if that particular thing being provided as in sensory information to individual and that being removed and that has got no impact further, so that thing will be forgotten by the individual. So sensory memory is going to be the very temporary memory where the information is going to be available till the time when the person is attending that particular sensory organs related information. So as if when we look forward for the sensory memory which is possessing some of the other sensory inputs is going to keep that information which is of importance only. That will be carried forward to other stage of short-term memory or a long-term memory when we have that set of information which is of importance. Now, how the things are going to be come up as a important and non-important, there we can identify the purpose of sensory memory is to give brain some times to process the incoming sensation and allow us to see the world as an unbroken stream of event rather than as an individual piece. So when we look forward for this, how the things are taking place with respect to the sensory inputs, we identify that this sensory inputs are going to be processed by mind. So each process which is being found relevant, which is being found significantly important by the individual with respect to certain dimensions of life that person has carried, then the set of information will be carried forward into the short-term memory. So when we look forward for this, whenever the sensory inputs reaches to individual, brain goes for some process. Now this process will be providing that whatever set of information is being available as a unit, as a word being taken as a unit, so that will be what? This will be coming to be into a different dimension. Like simple example, if we are moving from one place to another, suddenly we touch some cold matter, cold object. So without knowing that, so we can identify the presence of that particular cold matter, and we are significantly able to differentiate from the our natural environment the presence of that particular object. So what it is going to break that particular dimension of where we see everything into one unit. We break that and we identify the individual object presence inside it. So sensory memory is basically based upon the sensory inputs which are available. Now when we see, there is an example of different types of memories inside sensory memory. One of the example is called visual sensory memory, which is also known as iconic memory. Now visual sensory memory is something like, this is an example related to visual iconic memory, where different alphabets, letters are available in front of you. Now these letters are being right now we are not judging the test, we are not implementing the test, but we are just coming up with how the things being implemented for visual sensory memory. Now the person being displayed with this particular sensory information for a fraction of seconds. It's not for all the time, it is just for fraction of second. Now within that, the person being displayed with these information, when the person being asked to recall what that person being exposed to, the person may be able to put the information in such order that they are sequentially in one row. They might be able to identify a few missing letters, but they might be able to put them into a row or a column based standard. But when we look forward for different places to be asked by the individual, while the information being exposed just for few seconds, or we can say just as a fraction of second, then it will be difficult for individual to locate these things. So what visual sensory memory is going to provide it, what like visual sensory memory is where visual sensory inputs are available to the individual. Now in this particular case, if the person will be asked, the person will be not able to retain, as we have seen that sensory memory has got only very lesser chances to be get remembered, lesser chances to be retained. Now how these chances evolve, we'll be learning in context of when we are talking about, or when we'll be talking about short-term memory. So visual sensory memory is also going to be called iconic memory. Now another dimensions related to sensory memory will be, it's not the visual, we can hear, as we said that we have got sensory organs like ears too, so there will be auditory sensory memory. It is also known as echoic memory. In the contrast to iconic memory, which decay very rapidly, echoic memory can last as long as 4 seconds. Like you listen to some or the other music, so you retain that particular rhythm for a certain time duration. That will be for 4 seconds. Now, how we remember certain things, that will be depending upon how we rehearse these particular things, which we will be following further when we will be converting the inputs in terms of, or information in terms of long-term memory. Now, just taking an example, in some people, iconic memory seems to last longer, a phenomenon known as eidetic imagery. Now, these are the or photographic memory, in which people can report details of an image over a long period of time. These people who often suffer from psychological disorders such as autism claim that they can see an image long after it has been presented, and can often report accurately on that image. So it is simple, as we have seen. It is a kind of exception to the iconic memory, where we have seen that it has a very small span of space in an individual's mind or an individual's memory. So few people who see certain images and can retain that particular information for long time duration, so they are in a state of autism. Autism means the person is in a state of not controlling their behavior because that person has the information which is visually exposed to them being staying for longer duration, and they can detail about information input. So in that case, the person's image, visual dimensions are very effective. So they are not, because it is being for a normal human, there is no chances that the information will be retained for a longer duration. So in this particular case, when we identify, this becomes difficult for the individual who retains these information for long. There is also some evidence of eidetic memory in hearing. Some people report that their echoic memories persist for unusually long periods of time. So, okay, whereas we have seen that your eidetic memory is going to stay for 4 seconds max to max, means you are able to listen to certain things and you can keep these information for max to max of 4 seconds. But again, there are exceptional people, exceptional human beings. So we identify all the common features of individual as a normal human being, and whichever is being deferred, that we consider as a normal human being in that dimension. And when there will be certain disorders, and then there will be treatment for these people being given in the organization or by the individuals. Now moving ahead, we reaches to your short-term memory. So when we look forward for your sensory memory stays with any individual max to max 4 seconds, as we have seen. Audiotic memory is going to be the memory, auditory sensory memory, which is going to stay for longer duration. It is higher than that of iconic memory. So echoic memory, auditory memory, it is going to keep with the individual for the higher duration. Now, when we come across with this aspect, we need to know how an individual remembers any information for longer duration. So there is further, we can say, transfer of memory related information from his one stage to another stage. So there we reaches to our short-term memory. Now, short-term memory is what? When we look forward for information that we turn our attention to with the goal of remembering it may pass into short-term memory. That is a place where small amount of information can be temporarily kept for more than a few seconds, but usually for less than a minute. So we can simply identify that from 4 seconds, 4 seconds was the highest dimension available, but in the short-term memory we can identify that this particular thing is reaches to max of 1 minute dimension. Now we can remember the things which we want to remember. That means that our focus, our purpose, our objectives or our interests, these are the dimensions which are responsible for anything to be remembered. If we are not focused, if we are not putting our efforts, we don't have interest about anything. So these dimensions are what? These dimensions are responsible with respect to something to be remembered by the individual, and that is again for the duration of a minute only. So again, we need to make more efforts to remember something for a longer duration. For a short-term duration, if we have focus on certain things, we can remember at least for a minute. So when we look forward for this short-term memory is going to keep that information for your smaller time duration. Now there is another concept which is being available, that is called your working memory. The processes that we use to make a sense, modify, interpret and store information in short-term memory are known as working memory. So working memory is a part of what? Working memory is going to consist all that set of information through which we try to keep some information in our mind in our memory. So the processes we come across with, we can say the methodology we use, like we create an abbreviation, we create short term, we create certain things to remember in short term memory for a minute, like repeating the numbers once again. So we'll be dealing with this in the next lecture.